It kind of depends. If you consider this question from the viewpoint of so-called natural law, it's not a written law. It's like kind of a law of common sense, or what people actually conceive as lawful. From that standpoint, you do not need to actually register your DAO. You can just create a DAO, probably on XDAO platform, and you can make some papers, some documents with your co-founders of the DAO. You just can co-sign a constitution of your DAO. And from the perspective of the natural law, you can actually form a valid legal entity. But a big disclosure, the standpoint of the states, governments, state agents, courts, police, etc., it would not coincide with that solution. So in order to make a DAO that would be perceived as a subject of law by government, states, policymakers, etc., you generally have to, first approach, you have to register your DAO directly as a company. Currently, there are 2 jurisdictions on Earth that provides you with such an option. First is the United States, namely its states Delaware and Wyoming. You can directly register a DAO. In those states, essentially you just register a classic LLC, limited liability company in those states, and you just add an option for them to be algorithmically managed. And yes, your excerpt from the company register would contain an additional line like your blockchain address of your DAO, blockchain wallets of the DAO members, and this all will have legal relevance. Actions on the blockchain undertaken by its directors and owners, they would have legal relevance like a handwritten signature on a paper. The second jurisdiction to register the DAO, it's the Marshall Islands. It used to be an American colony, and now it's kind of sovereign state, but it still share lots of its legislation with America. You can even register 2 types of DAO in Marshall Islands. It's first one as a commercial entity and non-profit company. Both jurisdictions have their pros and cons. In general, the United States, it's kind of an expensive jurisdiction. It's quite cheap to register a DAO, and it's just about $1,000 and you're good to go. But if you dare to undertake any actual commercial activity, especially within the United States, the compliance, attorney, accounting costs might be huge, because like American lawyers, American salaries, be prepared to pay all of it, and you might be in a need to obtain lots of licenses in the American. Marshall Islands is way less compliance burden jurisdiction. So it's the first way to just directly register of a DAO in the United States or in the Marshall Islands, but it kind of boxes you into those 2 jurisdictions. And I'm a fan of another approach when you use a classic legal entity with grafted DAO on top of it. Imagine you have a Singaporean company and you change its constitution, articles of associations, and you give legal relevance to some blockchain actions. Like you mentioned, these shareholders has this blockchain account, this shareholders uses that blockchain account. You mentioned blockchain accounts of all the directors who can make contracts on behalf of the company, and then you designate a blockchain address of your DAO, which is used as a tool to make a joint decisions, to make votes on your corporate affairs, or you can use it just as a multi-signature wallet to manage your corporate funds. You can use it like a multi-signature bank account. When you have money in a bank account, but you need to collect more than one signature, 2, 3, 5, etc., in order to make any transaction. And yeah, you can use a DAO as a piggy box for your crypto funds, and you can assign your directors to collectively manage it, and you can give their blockchain actions legal relevance according to your company papers. And yeah, I perceive it for a while as probably the best way to use DAO is business. You have a huge choice of jurisdictions. There are dozens of crypto-friendly jurisdictions. It's like Singapore, Hong Kong, BVI, Cayman Islands, lots of European countries, especially Estonia. So the jurisdictional market is kind of big in this relationship. Also, you can use a general partnership or a trust to legally use DAO, but it has its own limitations. A partnership is peculiarly interesting because you do not need to register a partnership. In general, you can just print out the constitution of what it's called a partnership agreement. Actually, you can sign it with your fellows, and you're good to go. You've just formed a meaningful legally partnership. But there is a drawback. If you made a partnership, you will be liable with all your personal assets for the deals made on behalf of this partnership, even by your partner that can be not so smart and kind towards you. So there's always risk. You have to really trust your partners to do so. So generally, there are 2.5 ways to use DAO legally. First, you can directly register it in the United States and Marshall Islands. Then you can attach it to the classic legal entity like a corporation or a partnership. And then you can try your luck and use a DAO. You can rely on a natural law and some international norms established by the United Nations. And you can use just a maverick, unregistered DAO with its constitution signed by its members, and pray that it will not be deemed as a full partnership in the jurisdiction which is relevant to you.